Good morning. I'm just getting up for the day. I am on a journey right now of becoming more, finding more presence in my physical body, um, with like what my life has looked like and my experience. From a very early age, I've been disconnected from my body and sensation and presence, and I've just had this major like overlying or underlying whatever this I've just had a serious tendency to dissociate. So getting in tune with my body and what I'm feeling and what my body needs from me and everything is something that is completely foreign to me at 24. um, So I'm trying to be mindful of things that I know consciously will help me a bit more, and it's like in a lot of different ways. And I'm not trying to be like super strict about any type of way that it should look, just because for me personally, when I start getting really critical or like rigid about setting expectations, of that I want to be stronger and more present in my body and healthier, so I'm only going to eat these things, I'm only going to do these things, I'm not going to do these things. Like the rigidity of it, I think, is really unsustainable. Um, and so I just do what little things I can consciously, again, like recognize will benefit me on a day-to-day basis. Um, I'm also kind of just debating on how I want to present videos online. So this is an opportunity for me to do some editing, really minimal, but just to try it out and see if it flows, if it works for me. Um, yeah, so I have mango this morning, which I'm really happy about. They were super cheap and they were so good. This is my last one, unfortunately. And then for tea, I have green tea, blackberry hibiscus tea, and then I do half a lemon, some cayenne, and then like a big chunk of ginger. I like cut it up and put it in here. And then I like kind of, I don't want to say force myself to eat the ginger because it is really nice. It's like very refreshing, like the crunch of it. But I have not been doing that every day lately. I've been having some cheat days with coffee, which is cool, which is awesome because I love coffee. I don't necessarily love caffeine, but I just love coffee so much. I love coffee. Um, I love, I don't know, something about it just warms the spirits and the soul. I'm gonna pull a couple of cards. I don't think I'm really gonna read too much into it. I've been trying to actually steer away from reading so much into things right now because I am on a journey of just like presence and need for presence in my life. I keep getting this one, so I am gonna look into it. I got it in a reading on here already, the dragon, but I know it's the fire element, I believe. I feel like that would only make sense. I am gonna look into it. Symbolizes passion, motivation, courage, and willpower. It brings lessons into your life that will help you clearly recognize what you have power over and what you have no power over. Only then can you maintain a clear focus, use your energy wisely, create change, and over time expand your sphere of influence to work for the good of others. This card represents a leader who gathers others around them with authentic authority. The element of fire asks you to always seek new challenges because they are what help you to grow and learn more about your inner power. It is the catalyst for change. Fire is the only element of all that is transformative. The others are purifying. The initiation process is associated with anger, pride, ambition, lust, competition, determination, and the will to succeed. In moments when you feel mistreated, persecuted, criticized, or betrayed, you are under the trials of the element of fire. Its initiation process helps you to find a wise way in dealing with your anger, impatience, frustration, and rage. That's actually so interesting. I did a video on my, I don't want to say main, but like my music YouTube channel, talking about how I've been I had some difficult experiences over the past couple of months, and they've actually allowed me to get really in touch with anger that had been like stagnant in my body, and how, you know, growing up, I mean, I don't think anger is really tolerated in any capacity, especially like in children, just because it's like unregulated adults telling children not to feel feelings. Anyways, whole other conversation. I was talking about how as a girl growing up, or like as a woman, having the need, like feeling angry is so incredibly frowned upon, and like you are not allowed to process feelings like that of like rage and anger and everything without being seen as like being crazy. And it's just completely unacceptable in our society. And I've been talking about how kind of like having a lot of those feelings arise like more presently in me. Like I can't keep pushing them down, like have to like really surfacing. It's actually given me a lot of opportunity to channel those feelings. I think I talked about in one of my videos, I don't know if it was on this channel or my other one, about how there was a morning that I was like so angry, and so I literally just like started like punching my pillows just like on my bed, just like punching in my pillows and like screaming into them, which I'd never done before. It was wonderful. It was a great experience. And after I did that, I wrote an incredible song, and I'm going to give myself the credit for that. And also my voice like started projecting and carrying so much differently after like screaming, like rage screaming into this pillow. So I'm definitely in a process of still working with that, and I feel like a lot of it has to do with a presence in my body. And I used to be very physically active when I was younger, and then I kind of started, like I had a lot of energy that led me to be physically active, and as I got older, I noticed that that energy was like less tolerated and just like unacceptable, and I had like less healthy coping mechanisms to channel that. So I just became very like stagnant and depressed, and kind of like started internalizing that there was something wrong with me. And again, there was like a whole severance from my mind and my body. I mean, I've lived in my mind analytical for so long. So in a lot of ways, like anger is something that I feel very physically. Like I get like shaky, like shaking, like mad. And so I actually think that that whole experience was kind of a call like into my body, and it definitely like sucked me in. And yeah, so I think building strength and everything again is a way to take that frustration and kind of gear it into empowerment. So I'll kind of, maybe if I do end up doing like a whole bunch of clips for this video, I might kind of walk through some of my exercises that I do. They are like Pilates exercises, so I'm not going to go into like details about the proper form and technique, but I did kind of like hijack somebody's Pilates video online and just have kind of made it my own for like my day to day. And again, like it's not a perfect thing. I've actually have not been doing it the past like week or two, and I've just been really out of it the past couple weeks, and that's okay. But I'm feeling like I have more capacity to use my energy in other ways again, like more productively. So giving myself the grace to have felt the way that I needed to, and honestly like recognize and not be hard on myself that I didn't have the capacity or the energy to do what I felt I should be doing over those weeks. And yeah, it's kind of helped me bounce back a lot faster. Sorry if you hear me chewing. I want to eat this mango. But yeah, that is one more thing. Actually, I was talking to my therapist about how I've struggled with depression like so severely in my life, and it was actually one of the like lesser concerned things. She was more like so concerned about my anxiety and my OCD, or not concerned, but wanting to work through those things. I also expressed more of a need to work through those things. But I was telling her, you know, about how I have this kind of tendency to be at more of like a lower baseline just in general. And there have been two really big things that I have kind of kept in mind to help me work through that, like as kind of more of my foundation, or just like more of my tendency. Like anything happens and I've always been very quick to just like go in my shell and be critical and hate myself and just like lay with my sadness. And so the two big things about that is one, in terms of giving myself grace to feel how I need to feel, there is more of a drive in me to recognize the ways that I can move productively in my life. Like, I have a much better tendency to also turn to productivity in different ways, like for me personally in my life. So kind of recognizing that I do have this shifted baseline, but if there are times where I am so overwhelmed or just exhausted and tired and sad and everything, and it's consuming, that if there are days that I don't feel that I am capable of doing literally anything but laying in bed and doom scrolling or whatever, that I'm not going to beat myself up for that. And beating myself up for it literally just makes that process last longer. If I need to do that for a couple of days so that I can kind of just like not be overly consumed and overwhelmed by those emotions, and then slowly begin to kind of process them to get myself out of it in little steps, you know. Okay, well, I'm not really feeling like getting up and being active and doing too much, so I'm going to write. I'm just gonna write in bed. I'm not feeling like doing music. I'm frustrated by this. Okay, I'm just gonna listen to a podcast. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to try to do a couple stretches on the floor. I'm gonna put on some music. I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna take a hot shower. I'm gonna take a bath. Like, I have different things for me personally that are healthier ways to channel those feelings that sometimes when I'm in the overwhelm is really, really hard to do. And my therapist even said, you know, having the recognition of what you want to be doing. For me personally, I get really paralyzed by the expectation I set myself up with, of that I should be doing this, I should be doing this, I shouldn't be feeling this way, I shouldn't want to do this, whatever. And I'm already in a state of overwhelm. Micromanaging and analyzing everything that I'm doing is only going to make me want to stay in bed and avoid the overwhelm even further. So even she said, you know, if you need to stay in bed for a day and eat cookies and get crumbs everywhere in the bed, like, so be it. You know, it's not a living, but it's, if that's what you have to do for one day, especially having the recognition that of wanting to take the small steps, whenever I feel that I can. And sometimes it is a little bit of a push. Like, I'm laying in bed and my body is really, really sore and stiff. Okay, I don't want to do a whole workout. I don't necessarily need to do a whole workout. Even though that might make me feel better, that doesn't matter. I don't really feel drawn to that right now. I'm going to put on some music and I'm going to move my body just a little bit and dance. And I'm horrible at dancing because I have not been in my body for very much of my life. So that's something that I'm like learning how to do now, which is fun and awkward, and but it's great, you know. Like, I'm also learning to give myself grace just within the learning and the messiness and everything. That explanation went on for a while. The other, man, what is the other? I was gonna say two things. I don't know. I can't remember. There's another thing so there's another thing that I've been doing that's been helpful to me too. But I guess like really the biggest thing for like all of it is that it can look differently, but giving myself the grace to just be a human has taken so much. Like, my criticism of myself is what has driven me into a depressed state over and over and over. And I still get in those states, you know? That is something that I'm deconditioning from. That is a part of the majority of like the foundation of the life that I've lived. And I don't align with it. I don't agree with it, but I'm having to recondition myself, reparent myself in so many ways. And Yeah, it's just been all of it. And I think learning new things and letting myself make mistakes and be kind of messy and everything has really given me the space to. Oh, I remembered it. I remember the other thing, and it is relevant to this, to lighten up. And I've always wanted to be somebody that lives my life more carefree and easygoing and everything. And like, I am not like a victim of the life that I've lived, but I have been through some hard shit that have made my experience so isolating and difficult to relax. Like, I was a hospice caretaker for a parent by 23, and so my ability now, being 24, and after that, my ability to relax and feel like I don't need to take care of everything or like control everything or think about the possibilities and everything. And like, I have OCD, okay? I have OCD, the need for certainty is there, and definitely the things that I've experienced have like not amplified, but kind of told that part of my brain like that it makes sense to be there. But it's not a very like functional way for me to live. And so a big thing is I feel like I carried so much shame and guilt about feeling good and like feeling okay with myself, and like the whole inner critic, being depressed and everything hand in hand. But I felt so much shame about feeling good or like wanting to feel good, especially like not even just feeling good, but like wanting to feel okay and feel good. And that has a lot of contributing factors. But one of the main things that I've kind of been working on is I deserve the things that I wish for other people too. You know, everybody that I know, that I love and care about, and even people that I don't, you know, I want them to be able to feel good in their circumstances to whatever extent they can. I don't feel like anybody should be sitting there criticizing and beating themselves up all the time. Like, that's not functional for anybody, you know, regardless of what somebody has done. Guilt and shame is not helping anything to grow. It's just keeping you in that overwhelm, in that stuckness of feeling like you are victimized by your circumstances, or you are guilty and you don't deserve to, you know, change and redirect and grow. So a big thing that I've been working on is if I have a moment, even like if I'm depressed all day and I'm like sad and angry, but then I have a moment where all of a sudden I'm feeling good and I'm happy and I'm goofy and everything. I feel like before I associated that with like being manic and like going back and forth between emotions, because I had this like conditioned mindset also with that. But I am a human being and I am capable of a large spectrum of emotions. I feel a large spectrum of emotions on a day-to-day basis. Rarely does that look linear. You know, how often are we having a great day and something happens and all of a sudden we're fucking pissed, you know, like that switch. I feel like it can happen the other way too. And something I've been giving myself just like the grace of too, like without having to put it in a box, without having to analyze it or dissect it or anything, is I can feel good in this moment. It doesn't matter if I've been all of these things all day, sad, angry, annoyed, whatever. If I'm having a moment where all of a sudden I'm feeling better and just like a little bit lighter, even if I don't think it's gonna last or whatever, I don't care. I'm gonna take that space and I'm gonna let myself enjoy it. And I feel like doing that has allowed me to create just more of those moments in more of the stagnancy, or not like emptiness, but just in my baseline, you know, allowing myself that, okay, my baseline might be really, really low. Well, when I have a feeling of happiness or goofiness or anything, before I would tell myself, no, like this is my baseline, I have to stay there, I can't go from one extreme to the other. But again, for me, that was a part of my conditioning of putting these things in boxes of that it's one way or the other. And I'm kind of realizing that within wanting to live in a balance, there are moments where it goes a bit extreme to another, and that's okay. And I think making space, especially for myself to appreciate those moments where I feel good and live in them and be present and appreciative, and not telling myself that I have to be one way or the other, and that giving myself the grace to feel however I need to feel in any given moment. You know, obviously I'm accountable for my actions and the ways that my emotions and feelings and behaviors still affect other people, absolutely. But giving myself the grace to and like forgiveness to move through and past and have those experiences without feeling defined by them, that I am sad, I am happy, I am this, I'm human. Giving myself the grace is something that somebody else can't do. And my capacity to feel sadness is my capacity to feel joy. And I feel like I've talked about this in like the black and white thinking on this channel before. And it's been really, really hard to recognize those things and actually put it into action. So I'm grasping a lot of things right now, and I'm realizing that this was such a bigger, like so much bigger of a tangent than I initially anticipated. And that's okay. I think I'm just gonna end this here. I was gonna do a whole everything, like editing kind of vloggy type video, and I still might do that separately, but I feel like this was just something that needed to be said on its own for my channel. So if you are here and you are watching and you are listening, I love you. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope that you are able to feel more and more empowered to give yourself grace. I don't think that shame and guilt is a plausible existence to be in and also grow at the same time. I think they contradict each other. I think they inhibit our ability to self-reflect and to be in touch with ourselves, or recognize just innate human nature as being kind of messy, kind of crazy, you know, whatever. And that's okay. And that's just what it means. You know, you can't have the good without the bad. You can't have the bad without the good. Capacity to feel one is the capacity to feel another. I love you. Thank you for watching. 22:22 on the timer. Love you.